Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erica. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about the reasons to not work in the construction industry. I work for a general contractor. I was a construction management major in college. I've been working in the industry for about 3.5 years. This video is focusing on the negatives. If you're considering going into this industry, I think these are some important things that you might not necessarily think about. Some of them are more obvious than others. If you guys like this video, I can make another video maybe about the positive things, but I've talked a lot about the construction industry and my job on my channel in the past. One of the first things that I wrote down when I was thinking about this video is something that I feel like I didn't necessarily think about when I was first joining the industry. Because you will mostly be working on a job site, you might sometimes work out of your main office, but most of the time you're working on a job site. Depending on what jobs your company gets and everything, a lot of times companies will have projects within like 50-mile plus radius of where their home office is. So you can end up driving a lot, and it's very hard to ever move thinking like, oh, I'm only going to be 10 minutes from my office, because depending on what job site you're on, you could for 2 years be down the road from your job or literally an hour and a half from your job. You can never ensure that you're gonna be close to your job, and so if you hate driving or if you need to use like public transportation, that could be really difficult. Another thing is that the construction industry is really affected by the economy. You will feel a lot of fluctuations where all of a sudden there's tons of work and lots of money flowing, and then not a lot of work. And unless you're in the civil side of construction, which would be more like roads and bridges and things that you need to do, and a lot of times the government pays for that, so those jobs are a lot less affected. But a lot of times it's kind of a more boring side of construction to be in. A lot of construction is a want and not necessarily a need, especially if you're in residential construction and you work on renovations of homes. A lot of times people do not want to spend money, obviously, when times are hard. My dad was a contractor and worked in residential construction, and he would definitely say that when times are good, it's great. People have lots of money and people want to spend their money on their house, but the first thing that people cut back on is like, well, we don't need to redo our kitchen. We don't need to, add a new backsplash or whatever. So you are definitely at the mercy of the market. With working on a job site, this does mean that you're pretty isolated from the rest of the company. Now I feel like I've met pretty much everyone that works at our company. It's a smaller company, but so many people never step foot into our main office, or rarely ever do. So unless there's like work events that are put on, a lot of times you will never like interact with those people on a daily basis. Also, depending on like who is from your company on your job site, it's probably only going to be like a handful of people, as little as like 2. I don't know, some jobs are huge, but a lot of jobs will probably have like 4 or 5 people. And so if you don't like the people, you're kind of stuck with them, and that can be a bit difficult. It can be very isolating. Obviously, there's a lot of people on a construction job site and a bunch of other trades and subcontractors that are out there. Along with that, this is something that is more specific to me, or other young people or women who are looking at joining the construction industry. But one of the things that I really don't like is that it's really hard to meet other young females through this job. And I feel like after college and starting your adult life, work is like a big place of where you kind of have a social outlet. And while I do like a lot of the people that I work with, I wish that I had more peers and more people who I could relate to, because I work with a lot of middle-aged men and a lot of people with families. While I do enjoy their company, like, we're just in very different places of our life, and it's hard to meet people nowadays, and especially after COVID and everything, that I wish that there were more young women in the field. After being in school for so long and being in college where you're around so many people who, live in the same town as you, or your same age, have a lot of the same interests, it's interesting now being around so many different people, and it can be good, but it can be a bit lonely. As much as I like enjoy hanging out with these people and talking with them and hearing their different life experiences, sometimes I feel like now that I've been in this industry for a while, I do really miss being around, I guess, more like-minded people. This is another one that it might just be me, but the fulfillment of the job definitely varies. Obviously, we need buildings, and I guess it does feel good when a product is finished. For me, I definitely struggle with that when there are people who are in jobs that are nursing or a teacher. I feel like my job doesn't necessarily help people, and so that was a little bit of a struggle of kind of adjusting to kind of accepting that. And obviously everyone might feel differently about different jobs and what makes them feel good. Something that I kind of shifted my mindset on. My job has given me a lot of opportunities to still have like hobbies and giving me the resources to do things that I want to do, and I can kind of like find the fulfillment that I need in my life, like on my outside time, and my work supplies me the resources to do that. That's just my personal experience with it. This next one was really, really big for me. The wastefulness took me a long time to fully accept. Even though we've moved a lot to being on the computer, there is so much stuff that you print, so many papers that you will print out, like hundreds of pieces of paper that never actually get looked at. And when I was an intern, this was one of the things that shocked me at first, was I had to print out like these huge binders, and some of them were like safety binders or RFI binders, and I was just thinking like, this is the biggest waste of paper, or like they didn't want it two-sided, and like I accidentally printed out a document that was like 30 pages two-sided, and then I like had to reprint it, and then I was like, I am wasting so much paper. And then even just like on the job site, things will get sent out wrong, or they change their mind, and so much stuff gets trashed, or people tear down perfectly fine buildings. They're definitely getting better at that, and there's a lot of buildings that have LEED ratings, which kind of rates the like environmental friendliness of the building, and there's a lot of like LEED standards. There's quotas that you have to meet and everything, but still it is a wasteful industry. Another negative is it is definitely not a glamorous job. A lot of people dress nicely. I personally don't, because I feel like my clothes get dirty a lot of times on the job site. Like I'm in steel-toed boots most of the time. And there's dust on me, like my jeans are always just like filthy from walking through the job site. We had an office for a while that we were working out of that the windows hadn't been installed yet, so we were just fully open to the environment, so like no temperature control. A lot of times you're making up like temporary places to work out of. Another negative that really became apparent to me during COVID was that it is very hard to work from home. There are people who are higher up that are able to do it, but definitely in the lower roles and even like mid roles, it's really difficult to ever work from home. And I mean, obviously if you're actually out there as like a carpenter or a laborer, obviously you have to be there to work. But if you're more on like the office side of it, you still a lot of times need to be there, which now seeing so many people working from home and seeing the benefits of it, I am glad that I do get the social interaction, and I definitely think I would not do well working from home all the time, but every once in a while, like it would be nice if I had that option. Or seeing so many people who traveled because they were able to like work out of Europe, that's like a dream. So if that's something that's important to you, a bit more difficult to find in this industry. So those are the things that I personally think are the worst cons of working in the construction industry. Let me know if you guys want to hear more of this, or if you want the pros of working in the construction industry, or if you guys liked this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.